Hello, my beautiful sparrows. Today, the topic is defy the status quo. I'm going to talk about little ways where we can defy the status quo, little examples of what I have experienced, and a little bit about what you can do in certain situations to make your own mark in this world and in your own life, hopefully. This topic is kind of, I feel, controversial, not only because it has different connotations of people being violent or too rebellious as the society deems people who defy the status quo. I don't want to say that's wrong, because it's not. It is right. It's not physical violence, of course not. I would never condone it in any circumstance, but it is a violence against the society in a way that the mere fiber of our society is threatened to crumble if we are just being ourselves and we're defying the status quo. So let's begin with defining what is the status quo. I personally, that's my personal opinion. I mean, everyone is entitled to one. My personal opinion about the status quo is how and what the society tells us that we should be doing in any circumstance, or what, even to the point of what we should be feeling. That's the status quo. And that's really deeply subliminal in a lot of ways that we don't even understand because of our conditioning, of course, from since the time that we were born, and then the ever so confusing adolescence and how our role in our adolescent journey is, and what the society told us, what we should be doing and feeling and wearing, eating, socializing, who we should and we shouldn't. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an example of I'm sure everyone's kind of been through it. So one of the examples I will give is growing up, I was always a really good student. I was one of the students, if I understood a concept or something that, the teacher was explaining, I was able to memorize it in my mind perfectly, the whole process, and then of course I was able to then replicate it on a piece of paper, our examination, test, or whatever. So I got into a phase where a lot of my good friends, let's call it that. When I say good, it's the society's label of what good is. So good at that point, and we are talking years and years ago, of course, I'm not that young. That time good was a student who got A's, and who was a good person, listened to the teacher, never got in trouble, they had a good family, and, the rest. So I got into a phase where I kind of got bored of hanging out with the good friends, let's call it. They weren't really my friends. We were just hanging out because we all got good grades and we got along and talk about stuff, boring stuff. So one day what happened was one of my friends, good friends, one of my friends, she didn't come to the class. So another girl came and sat next to me. That girl wasn't that good. When I say good and bad, in this video, I'm talking relative to what the society deems good or bad is. So when I say she wasn't that good, it just meant she didn't get good grades, and she wasn't that in good reputation with the teachers. And yeah, so my friend didn't turned to class, and she sat next to me, and we started talking, and I slowly realized, you know what? I wasn't able to speak about things with my good friends as much as I could with this person who supposedly wasn't that great, you know. And that's when I started questioning what the status quo was. And that's something I never understood at that time, of course. I can't remember how old I was. I was really young. I think I must have been 7 or 8, when you're kind of navigating your own identity and what the society, you know, all the meanings, labels around things, and what good is, what bad is, you know. And I was, you know, I was not in Australia or New Zealand, so, you know, that's another thing to discuss, another story for another day. So I realized, you know, there's a glitch in the system. Something's not right. Why is she not good all of a sudden, you know? So what happened after that day, we became friends, and I realized I had a lot more fun with her than my other friends, you know, who were good. So I started hanging out with her, even at lunch times. We used to sit together in class, and we used to giggle, laugh, and just come up with those smart-ass ideas, you know. And if the teacher said something, we would just, you know, make a joke out of it, and, you know, the class would laugh, and the teacher did not like us, of course. So what happened? The teacher actually told my parents about it at the the parent-teacher meeting, saying, your daughter suddenly started seeing, you know, some other girls who are not that great, and, you know, it's rubbing off on her, and she's kind of behaving like them. And oh my gosh, I was not expecting my teacher, who praised me all the times, suddenly, just because I was hanging out with not so good students, saying all these nasty things about me. And at that time, of course, I blamed her. I was a 7-8-year-old girl. Come on. Well, like, what would I know about self-reflection, conditioning, and status quo, and what the society is and how it works? Of course not. It was all how bad the teacher was and how mean. And so I come home upset and crying, and mom and dad were quite upset at me about, you know, hanging out with those girls. And I asked them, I said, look, is there any difference in my grades? And they looked at me kind of shocked, a little bit of a shock, saying, it's not about grades. It's about who you're hanging out with. And, you know, at that stage, I just kept quiet. I don't think I said anything. And because I did not understand what it was, what I was dealing with at that stage. What is status quo? So status quo is about what the society, what the teachers, what the principals, our parents, our grandparents, our neighbors, our friends, what they deem good or bad. So defy it. I am glad I did get to hang out with those girls. My parents told me not to, but sometimes I still did. And I did not feel an ounce of remorse. And neither I should have had anyway. So I actually started seeing the other side of life. And at that super young age, I started questioning, what is status quo? Of course, I did not know the meaning of that word. And I never used that word at that age, not at least that age. I started just those quiet thoughts about why we do what we do, and why don't we define ourselves as who we are. And I kind of regret not looking into it much deeper until much later, to be honest, because I was a child, and that's what children do. I kind of got back to, you know, what I was being told and what was expected to me. So coming back to defying the status quo, I'll just give you another little example of the kind of misogyny, sexist, and the fragile male ego, not saying women don't have egos. A lot of women walk around with such fragile feminine egos that it's, anyway. So yeah, so I ride a motorbike and I love it. That's one of the best things I would say that I enjoy doing. One of the best things, yeah. It's anyway, that's another topic, what I feel about having a bike ride. But anyway, one day I was just passing by, and one of the guys that I know at work, I'm gonna be I'm not gonna be telling you what relation I had with him, because obviously it can be traced to a capacity of where that conversation happened. So I'm gonna just imagine it's just imaginary. So I'm just making things up, but it is something that happened. So I was wearing my leather jacket, which is, the armored jacket when you ride a bike. So I was walking around with that, coming inside the room, and that guy was looking at me. Anyway, whatever. So I just I kept walking. So when I moved past him, he's like, "Oh, look at you with your broad shoulders walking around like, you're the boss." Just for a split second, I did not know what to say to that, because I did not understand what he meant by that. Like, what does it mean to be walking like a boss? Because when you wear those armored jackets, what tends to happen is that they're much wider, and because they have like big armored things on them, and it makes you, shoulders huge. I don't have petite shoulders anyway. Anyway, so I wasn't sure what to say in the beginning, but then I snapped, not at him, but I snapped back into myself, and you know what? I said what I felt was the perfect response at that point. And that's something I'm working on, honestly. At times I struggle to verbalize what I should be saying in any situation. Sometimes I'm still working on it. I'm much better than I used to be. So I just went, let's just call him George. So I said, "George, you know what? You can wear that jacket too and walk like a boss. There's no one stopping you to do that." And then he was a smart ass, Everyone knew that. Like, he was a good guy. I'm not going to say he was nasty or just stupid or just rude. No. So coming from him that way, walking around like a boss with your jacket, it was really, really odd. And I instantly understood what that was. Lucky for me. I just understood what that was. That was his status quo challenging him in his subconscious, saying, as a female, what the hell is she doing? Wearing that motorbike jacket and, strutting it around like she's the boss. I think that really irked him personally. That's what it was. And that is status quo, ladies and gentlemen. That is status quo. So his status quo was that a woman shouldn't be doing that. And that was odd for him. Whatever. I don't even know what he 100% meant by it. It was sexist. It was rude. And it wasn't funny. We were never that close, we'd never had that kind of relationship where we could joke with each other. So that was really odd. And I did not like it. So I just said that to him. I said, "Look, if you wanna have a jacket, walk like a boss, go ahead, George. You can do it too." And I just walked past. And the look on his face was priceless. He looked at me like, oh my God, I don't know what to say. And for a cheeky person like him to not have an answer was a big win, honestly. Like, I hope it made him think about what his expectations of a woman is, or how a woman should dress, or, you know, maybe it was too much for him, whatever. I hope that gave him a pause to think about what masculinity is, what femininity is, and how to be secure in your own skin, doing whatever you want, however you want. I just hope so. So defy the status quo. Be truthful to yourself. Do what makes you happy. Do what makes you fall in love over and over again with life, with yourself, with whatever that you are doing. Fall in love. Defy the status quo. You know what? And at the end of your life, those people who looked at you in a funny way because you're not wearing the appropriate thing, or because you're not acting what they deem is good or perfect, it's not going to matter. Those people never matter anyway. And that's something I came to terms with. It was a painful realization, to be honest, because part of it is about forgiving yourself, forgiving into those kind of people and their views and how toxic their thinking is, and actually sinking low so that they approve of you. If you, as a woman, is living in your authentic feminine power, in your authentic feminine and masculine, because I don't believe femininity can exist without masculinity, or masculinity can live without femininity. It's a balance, right? You as a feminine woman, you decide what you want to do. You want to ride a bike? Go get your license, go have fun. Yes, it's a masculine side of it's a masculine side that's coming up, but cherish it. There's nothing wrong with it. Cherish it, be proud of it. Combine both your masculine and feminine energies and be truthful to yourself. Defy the status quo. What is it anyway? It's just a facade. Look at what the media is trying to feed you. Day in, day out. Day in, day out. All the ads, all the propaganda, destroy it. Wear whatever the hell you want to wear. Be friends with whoever you want to be friends with. Be truthful to yourself. End of the day, you're responsible for yourself, not those people. They're not even responsible for themselves. Let's be clear. If they were, they wouldn't be wasting their time judging and gossiping and, you know, having those backhanded comments and hate and all that. No, I don't believe that. If you're in your own truthful essence, you will never tear down another person just because you don't approve of the way they dress or the way they act or they talk or they live. Of course, end of the day, it's, you know, it's subjective, but real people, real, happy, authentic people are kind to themselves and live with gratitude and authenticity. And they know that even though if the other person has different values to them, different ways of thinking, they accept it. They accept it. Even though they know it doesn't align with them, they accept it. So keep defying the status quo, live in your authenticity, wear what you want to wear, be friends with whoever you want to be friends with, love whoever you want to love, eat whatever you want to eat, play any sport that you like. Doesn't matter it's feminine or masculine. You enjoy it, you do it. Doesn't matter. Defy the status quo. I see you later. Bye.